You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly ReQua, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
BarkBox is awesome. Our dogs love each month when the box arrives. Every month, the dogs are shipped a themed box filled with unique treats and toys that I can't find anywhere else. The dogs sniff the box, scratch the box. They get so excited, and they know when I say BarkBox what's coming. The treats are unique and the toys are adorable. Visit barkbox.com/vettalk and receive an extra month when you subscribe to a 6 to 12 month plan. Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly ReQua. Today we're talking to Kersti Nieto, trainer at Dog Training Camp USA in Raleigh, North Carolina, on how to crate train. Welcome, Kersti.
Hi, Polly. Thanks for having me.
So let's say one of our listeners decides that they're going to either take on a foster dog or a puppy, or they have some behavioral issues with their dog. Tell us, how do you crate train a dog?
Well, crate training is probably one of the best things that you can teach your dog, how to have a safe place, like a den for them to retreat to. That's just their little area. Whether you have a stressed out dog or a young puppy, a new dog, it's really like their little safe spot. So when you go about introducing a crate to a dog, no matter how old they are, you want it to be a really good place to be. So you can lead them to their crate and give them something really delicious, like a high value treat that they don't normally get during the day. So something special that they get when they go in the crate. And you can give them things to stay busy with, like a peanut butter stuffed Kong or an antler or something really chewy that you know is safe for them. Because anything you give your dog in the crate, you want to make sure ahead of time that they're not able to splinter it or break it into pieces or swallow it whole. And then the other big thing too, when you're crate training a dog, you don't want to just put your dog in the crate when you leave, because then your dog is going to learn, the only thing that happens when I go in the crate is my person goes away. So when you're crate training your dog, you want to work on it while you're at home for small increments of time. So like for 10 minutes, put your dog in the crate and give them something to do, but don't pay them a lot of attention. So they just learn that that's another place to be while they're in the house.
And so what type of crate, we had a soft crate and Maddie, our black lab, ate through it, the zipper. So how do you know what type of crate and what size to get?
I think the best bet if you're buying a crate for the first time is to get a wire or metal crate. And that way, if for example, if you don't know the dog that you're getting and they might be a big size dog, that's going to be safer than buying the soft-sided ones. Soft-sided crates are more for once you've had your dog for a really long time and you know them and you know they're not going to destroy things. It's kind of like something that's earned. When you're picking a crate as far as size, you want to make sure that your dog has enough room to stand up fully and turn around so that they're not cramped into it or hunched over. But you also don't want to give them too much room so that, especially if you're potty training, you don't want them to have enough room to be able to potty on one side of the crate and then lie on the other, because that will kind of set you back a lot with potty training. So they just need a really comfortable place for them to lie down where they can comfortably stand up and turn around, but not overly big. If you've got a puppy and they're growing, like say you have a St. Bernard puppy or Great Pyrenees, something really big, but that will start out small, you can buy crates that have dividers. So you can grow the crate as your dog grows, and that way you don't have to buy a lot of different crates.
Okay. Oh, that's neat that they have that.
Yeah.
And then what do you put in the crate? I know you said in the beginning that, entice them to go in with a treat, but big fat pillows or what? What's your thought on that?
I would start really small, so you don't want to spend a lot of money, because sometimes, especially when you're first introducing the crate, even though you're still making it a good place to be, there still might be a little bit of stress, and sometimes, depending on the dog's personality, they might take that stress out on shredding whatever's in the crate. So you want to give them something that's safe to chew on, and maybe if you want to give them some bedding, start with like a little towel or a little mat. And then as you get to know the dog and get a good feel for it, then start adding a lot of bedding if you feel comfortable. Some dogs do really, really well when they're babies, when they're little, and you can put a lot of different cloth and bedding in there. But once they hit that 9-month-old phase where they're really teenagers, they might start shredding everything. So you just kind of want to go with the flow and see what works for each individual dog.
Okay, and then obviously never use the crate as punishment.
No, not at all. One thing I do like to use the crate for, say if you're working with your dog and they've just hit their threshold where you're getting frustrated or they're just pushing all your buttons, it's a good tool to have where you can end what you're doing. So say your dog is jumping all over you after you've gone for a walk. Use it as like their settle spot. So if you're frustrated, don't get mad at your dog, but lead them to their crate and give them something to stay busy with, like a bone or a chewy, something that they can occupy themselves with. And that will also allow you to go take a break and not interact so much. But never lead your dog to your crate angrily or as punishment or anything like that. You want it to be just a very positive, calm place. It should be their little sanctuary.
So are there any other tips you can give any of the listeners when they're trying to crate train their dog?
I think one big thing you can do to make the crate a positive place to be is go for a walk, or make sure that your dog is relaxed and burn off some energy before you expect them to settle in their crate, or when you want to start working on crate training. Because if you take that walk and come inside, it's much easier for your dog to just kind of pass out and relax than it is to expect your dog to relax when they have a whole bunch of energy. And that's going to make it easier on you and on them. And it creates a healthy independence, so they learn that it's okay to be by themselves. And crate training, it's not just good for giving them a place to be, but it's also a big safety, so you know that they're not getting into anything when you're not supervising them. It creates better travel in the car, or if you stay in a hotel or at a new place and you're traveling with your dog, or you have repairmen in the house. There's so many reasons why you can use that crate as a great place for your dog to retreat to. So I'm a big advocate for crate training.
So Kersti, these are great tips, and I know crate training is so important for a dog and for them to have their own safe area. And I certainly appreciate you being on the podcast today.
Absolutely, anytime.
So thank you very much, and we will definitely have you back.
Thanks for having me. Hi, this is Kersti with Dog Training Camp USA, and you just listened to Bark and Wag's 15-minute vet talk, sponsored by BarkBox. My dogs love BarkBox so much. When it gets here, my dog Lana runs outside with me, and I let her carry the box in and open it up. And my favorite thing about it is that it's always a surprise theme. So I wait every month just to see what it is. And there's some really cool treats and toys in it. If you sign up for BarkBox for 6 or 12 months, you can get a free month, free box delivered to your house. Just visit barkbox.com/vet talk.
Bark and Wag 15-minute vet talk is sponsored by BarkBox. What is BarkBox? BarkBox is a delivery of 4 to 6 natural treats and super fun toys curated around a surprise theme each month. Choose a dog size, choose a plan, 1, 6, or 12 months, and receive your BarkBox in the mail. BarkBox is committed to making dogs happy, working with local and independent businesses. BarkBox supports shelters, rescues, and nonprofits, helping dogs find their forever home. Bark and Wag 15-minute vet talk loves their mission. For a free extra month, visit barkbox.com/vet talk and receive an extra month when you subscribe to a 6 to 12 month plan.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-minute vet talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.